I built this entire system because lead generation used to take hours of my time every single day. As an SDR, I used to have to go to a tool like Smart Prospect, have to put in all the different filtering criteria manually one by one. For example, looking for founders of financial services businesses, and only after applying 10 different filters manually, only then would I arrive at a lead list that I then need to enrich, qualify, and personalize outreach to, which most of the time would take up the entire day back in my SDR days. Now, contrast this with the system that I have running for me on complete autopilot inside of Claude Code, and this is the exact system where Claude has access to every single tool that's a part of my tech stack. It can build lead lists, it can enrich, qualify, and personalize those lead lists. And the best part is that everything from lead sourcing all the way through to copywriting and the setup of every individual cold outreach campaign is configured inside of Claude Code using just simple plain English prompts. Now, before you can dive deeper into Claude Code and set up the entire system that I'll be talking about throughout this video, the number one most important component of the entire GTM motion that I have set up so far relies on the Smartlead MCP. I don't want to bore you with random abbreviations and acronyms, but MCP stands for Model Context Protocol, and essentially MCPs are just a way of connecting different platforms like ZoomInfo, Apollo, Clay.com, Smartlead, or any platforms like that together without you needing to learn how to code or how to use APIs or how to use webhooks. So think about it as a dummy-proof way to connect all of our favorite software tools without having to reverse engineer APIs or anything of that sort. Before we dive into the Claude Code system, it's essential to connect the Smartlead MCP so that you can replicate exactly what I've built for myself in-house, and that requires the following 5 steps. The first step requires you to go to Claude.ai, create an account, and as soon as you're inside of your account, you need to click on your name in the bottom left-hand corner and click on Settings. As soon as you're inside of Settings, you will then need to go into Connectors. Inside of Connectors, it will just basically tell you that connectors have now been moved to this Customize section, so you can just click over here, and over here you will see all the different MCP options that you have. Now, the second step is quite straightforward. All you would need to do is click on plus where it says Connectors and click on Add Custom Connector. Over here, you would just need to paste the MCP URL, which will be linked in the description down below, and it would look something like this. So essentially, you can see it says mcp.smartlead.ai, and then you should be able to see that at the very end, it says your API key. For this, we need to go and sign up for a Smartlead.ai account. And if you're not familiar with Smartlead, it's the tool that enables you to handle all of your email infrastructure, all of your email sending, your calling, your finding of leads, and you can do that all using simple prompting inside of Claude Code. So in order to set this up, first of all, you would just basically paste this entire URL link. You'll remove your API key at the very end over here, and you would go and sign up for a Smartlead account, which will be the top link in the description underneath the video right now. And as soon as you're inside of your Smartlead.ai account, all you would need to do is just click in the top right hand corner on the settings icon, and over here you should be able to navigate across to API key management, and then over here just click on create admin key, and you can just give it a quick name. So I'll just say Tim video key, for example, and then you can click on create, and all you would need to do is just copy this key to clipboard by clicking on the clipboard icon over here, and then you would just go back and paste it into the actual connector over here, and then now we can call this Smartlead.ai, and over here we can click on add, and over here we can see that this custom connector of Smartlead.ai has been automatically connected to Claude. For the time being, you can see that all the permissions would require you to approve things manually inside of your Claude chat, which is of course quite tedious. I would personally recommend just clicking on needs approval on the right hand side and clicking on always allow. That way, by default, you can perform hundreds of different actions using simple prompts inside of Claude Code, and automatically your prompts will turn into actions inside of your Smartlead platform. For the time being though, if you do go into your Claude.ai account after connecting the Smartlead MCP, if you now click on the plus button over here, you should be able to see the connectors. Now, after you connected the Smartlead MCP via the connectors inside of Claude.ai, it's about time that you enter your IDE of choice. And if you're new to this, don't worry, the IDE stands for an integrated development environment, and this is typically where you host your Claude code. And this is typically where people perform their funky Claude Code workflows. For context, your IDE could be any of Visual Studio Code, Anti-Gravity, Cursor, or something of that sort. In my case right now, I'm using the Visual Studio Code desktop app, and all I basically need to do is just click on Claude Code open over here, and I can start a new chat. In this new chat, all I need to do is just paste a prompt like this, where I say, use Smart Prospect using the Smartlead MCP in order to find me founders of financial services companies in the UK. I'll put the first 10 people in a table view for me to see. If I click over here where it says edit automatically in the bottom right hand corner, and if I switch over to bypass permissions, that way I give Claude 100% access to my entire computer. It can wipe out files, it can basically do anything that I can do manually otherwise on my computer. And you can see in this case, it's checking access to Smart Prospect as well. And on the basis of that, it will now start building that lead list that we just talked about. So in this case, you can see that the MCP straight away went ahead and filtered through Smart Prospect inside of Smartlead.ai's database. It gave me a preview of the first 10 leads that are founders of financial services companies in the UK. We even have their email addresses over here that my brilliant editor unfortunately had to blur for compliance reasons. And more than that, you can see on the back of it, straight away, I'm being asked whether I want to validate those emails to see if those emails are verified or if they're catch-all or unverifiable otherwise. In this case, I'm going to select validate all 10, and it also now asks me whether we want to enrich those contacts and qualify them against our ICP criteria, which we can paste into the chat later down the line as well. So in this case, I'm going to select enrich and qualify via ICP fit, and then on top of that, it's asking what outreach should we draft for the qualified contacts. In this case, I'm going to select email only because Smartlead.ai is the tool that we will be using for the email outreach side of things. And then on the back of this, we can submit the answers and basically go ahead with the rest of the process. Now, I totally understand that you're probably here to see the build out of this exact Claude Code lead generation system completely from scratch. But if I'm 100% honest, it could take you half an hour to copy and paste my system and to adapt it to your business needs. So the third link in the description underneath the video will have the exact GitHub repository that I will show you how to copy and paste into your own Claude Code go-to-market system. And there will be a separate video showing you how you can adapt that system to your specific business needs. So if you want to check that out, that will be the third link in the description down below. And I highly recommend for you to go and check out that guide because it will act as the gateway drug into the world of AI, automations, and GTM systems that you can build out using Claude Code. For the time being, you can see that Claude Code in the background has generated some relatively relevant and personalized email copy following some of the systems and processes that we have taught it in the past. And we're basically at a point now where we have a pretty decent lead list. We already qualified and enriched it. We generated the copy. So now it's a matter of just not having to reinvent the wheel and not having to do this completely from scratch every single time. The beauty of Claude Code is that now all we need to do at the end of a successful project or at the end of a successful campaign like this one, we just need to say, turn this into a skill. And after prompting Claude Code, it can now create a skill out of it, meaning that next time, all we would need to do is just generate that initial prompt of what leads we wanted to find. And on the basis of that, it will automatically go through the validation of the emails, the enrichments, the qualifications, and everything else that otherwise will require a lot of prompting throughout that process. And you can see at the bottom over here, it's created a skill directory for me, meaning that it's basically creating that skill, updating that skill, and learning from this entire session and all of these chats that we had so far. And that basically will include Smart Prospect, validating emails, enriching and qualifying, and drafting the outreach. Of course, on top of that, we can also just prompt it to create a quick campaign inside of Smartlead. It will do that for us using the MCP that we have connected at the start of this video. So it is all pretty straightforward after you set up the initial first system for yourself. As I mentioned already, if you want to run this entire setup for yourself, you can set up a Smartlead account, including the access to over 2,000 contacts completely for free inside of Smart Prospect using the top link in the description underneath the video video right now. Once you're inside a Smart Lead, you can have Claude Code connected in under 3 minutes using the instructions that are provided at the start of this video, and you can copy and paste the entire lead generation skill literally on the same day by borrowing all the templates and the files that I've got saved for you as the third link in the description underneath the video that you're watching right now. So once again, go sign up for a free Smart Lead account with a 2-week free trial by clicking the first link in the description down below. And if you want to learn how to build a fully outbound AI agent in just 60 seconds, then check out the video that's popping up on your screen right now. Anyways, if you enjoyed this video, double check that you're subscribed, make sure to give this video a like, and I'll see you in the next one.